death. A member of Project Mayhem has a name. His name is Robert Paulson.
Welcome to the Regular Menthol podcast, where we discuss Keynote movies. My name is Tate. My co-host here is Chris. We give a little thoughts on the movie, our experience with it, growing up perhaps. Then we discuss specific scenes that we like, followed up with our very own Keynote rating. Today, we're discussing the movie Fight Club, 1999, starring Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, and Helena Bonham Carter.
All right, let's do it. It's going to be a doozy.
King, you just like to mention to the world that you and I, you follow it a little bit closer than I do, but we're big fans of sumo wrestling.
Yes. Just things that are going on lately. Aside from the fact of you losing power, apparently, you were telling me, well, there have been gale gusts of winds.
It's
there's
crazy where I live.
I live in like a wind tunnel, dude. I'm telling you, it's like out in like a valley. So it's like you get 40 mile per hour winds. Completely insane. Fortunately, we haven't lost power, but everyone in the neighborhood today's trash day.
It's all over the place.
These jokers don't know what an actual trash bag is. You put your trash in the trash bag, you put the trash bag in the trash can and recycling respectively. They don't understand that concept, so I just have a ton of shit all over my front yard.
Hey, there you go.
Anyhow. But yeah, sumo, man, sumo is back. So for the people who don't know about sumo, it's a pretty awesome sport. In Japan, they have a tournament. They have 6 tournaments every year, and it's every other month for the second 2 weeks of the month. So basically the middle of November until the end of November. And the origin of this is I just popped up on like a YouTube video for me one day, and it's just like following this one stable, and these dudes are such characters. You just kind of get invested in it. And it's given subtitles, so you can't even really tell what they're saying. Anyhow, the stable that I like is Furugoyama, and which I've introduced you to. And dude, it's just like it's kind of sick the way these guys live their day to day. And like their training, and then the
eating.
They call it chanko, which is like this like hot pot kind of thing. Anyway,
it's surprisingly like good to watch. It's surprisingly easy to watch too. Sumo, the actual sport of it.
Oh yeah, very easy to watch. Exactly.
They take like each match takes once they start and get around the ritual of doing all they do in the ring and whatnot.
Yeah.
Once they actually clash, it takes about 10 seconds for the match at most. So you're watching like a huge explosion of excitement within 10 seconds, and then it peels back. Like it's surprisingly fun to watch.
The cool part about it is there's different levels of it. So you have the young kids. I mean, some of these kids even start at like 15 years old, but you have the way younger groups start out and they work their way up. But by the end of the night, I mean, now mind you, it's like 12 hours ahead. So I only really get to watch it on the weekends when it's like, 1, 2 in the morning when like the main guys go. But dude, once you get some of those top fights of the top, like Yokozuna status, and I can't remember the
Jurio.
Jurio is one of the top ones, but Mukashita. But dude, once you watch those guys, that's some real quality. Like, these dudes are like 300 to 400 pounds, and they're just athletic.
Yeah.
Like super athletic.
Super strong, super athletic, super evasive. And yet some of them are very fat too, but fat on top of a muscular body, I would say.
Correct.
And flexible.
So it's fun to watch. I mean, it's if you're a sports person into the whole team sports like baseball or football, it's cool to see something that's like an individual sport, and you follow some of these cats and like, the records. But that's sumo. It's back, baby.
Yes. We've been freaking out over sumo for the last week.
I didn't even tell you, but Vita got hurt. He pulled his ACL. So two of our favorite guys are now on like a 3-month surgery leave. So kind of sucks for, those are like the top guys of that specific stable. So it's kind of annoying, but anyhow. They shall return. Let's discuss this movie. You got anything going on besides you not working ever?
Absolutely not. I just go to Starbucks every day, dude. I just like Cozy Max at Starbucks and just sit there, do some kind of plan for how I can become rich, and just sit there and critique the workers and whatnot. But that's about it. I have no life, folks. Fight Club. A car company compliance and liability officer decides to go to different group therapies in order to deal with his insomnia. After his apartment blows up, he asks a mysterious soap salesman he met on a plane if he can stay at his place. The soap salesman agrees, but only if he hits him as hard as he can first. After forming a friendship together, they start a fighting club and eventually a terrorism club. Before long, things spiral out of control, and one of them decides to put a stop to everything before they end up destroying the world.
That's my investment, yeah.
Like, you know how we were discussing last week how you would watch Inherent Vice or Fury and kind of fall asleep? That was me a decade before that with Fight Club. I would watch the Fight Club DVD and just fall asleep. Yeah. And it was like, it was either Fight Club or I'd watch Adult Swim anime at night. And that was the thing. There was a couple different movies where I was obsessed with. Fight Club was one of them. I might have watched this movie 100 times back in the day. I've watched the DVD commentary a couple times. That's how insane I was.
It's nothing wrong with that, dude. I mean, this movie is as we say, Keynote. I mean, it has an 8.8 on IMDb, which I did not expect. I kind of thought it would be a low 8 because they're so critical. But yeah, this movie is it. This is your movie.
It checks all the Keynote boxes. Like Fight Club, if you think about it, I think this has been talked about a lot, but you know, it exists in this weird genre of movies that around 1999 had to do with office workers not being satisfied with their job.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, like Office Space and The Matrix. And it's like, what a weird cultural zeitgeist going on at the time where these Gen Xers are in the office and they're still in their 20s and they're realizing we got sold a lie by these boomers to just go to college and get a good job. And filling out these TPS reports is not fulfilling. Right?
Hit the nail on that. Yeah.
And it's funny is I've been seeing this meme kind of go around right now, and it's taking the opposite worldview almost. And it's like, look at these Gen Xers in these movies who think they had it bad. Oh, I get a nice, comfortable life and I can afford a house and a family. But let me throw it all away because I don't like it. Whereas like now it's way worse.
Dude, it was kind of funny because the first thing that I thought about, you had that scene where Brad Pitt's talking to Tyler Durden is talking to the group downstairs in the Fight Club.
Mm-hmm.
And he's making a whole lot of sense in 2000 about, you know, we don't have our war. We don't have our, it's just like, I was thinking to myself watching this, like, is this Zoomers? Is this movie made for Zoomers? This holds up.
Yeah.
It's probably more applicable for Zoomers right now.
Yeah. Because
I would say like a Gen Xer back in that time.
Well, if you look at Edward Norton's character, the narrator, he's obviously making some money doing what he's doing. Right. The difference now is the money that first off, the jobs aren't available. Second off, the money that you do make is not going to go nearly as far as it would in 1999.
Correct.
So it's a way worse situation. Like,
correct.
And you could argue this is the same kind of archetype where it's these directionless young men who are kind of taken in by Tyler, and Tyler acts as their surrogate dad.
Yeah.
But finally, in Fight Club and Project Mayhem, they have this mission in life. Purpose, yeah. And it's like Andrew Tate or whatever, giving the same kind of purpose to these Zoomers, right? It's brainwashing 101. I don't know. It's cult behavior.
It is.
But yeah, I mean, when you're kind of watching it, you're like, it hits you though. You're like, damn, dude, what is actually the point of all this? What is the point of going to work all the time? Like, people are starting to lose their minds now. Think about it, back then, it was more of like a philosophical question.
Right.
Now it's like, okay, yeah, let's just start going crazy. Because
I think this movie's ahead of its time. The message is ahead of its time. No question about that. I was just saying, I think it's more applicable for Zoomers now, given their situation.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Their backs are up against the wall.
Yeah, facts.
You know, like, it's even more applicable, I guess you could say.
Yeah, 100%.
This is a weird kind of thing in this movie, this Project Mayhem. It's like a terrorism group, pretty much. That's what it is. And the writer of the book, Chuck Palahniuk, back in the day, I was somewhat obsessed with this movie, so I'd look up different things. Is there a real life Project Mayhem out there? It's like the writer of the book was part of this Cacophony society that was formed in San Francisco, and they would do like flash mobs and, you know, different pranking stuff.
Yeah, I think I heard that.
And it led me down this path of like looking into all this weird stuff. Is it surprising to you now where I come up with this whole idea of, hey, you know, it would be a good idea if I somehow make a device that allows me to turn off every television?
Dude, I thought about that in the scenes where they're just kind of causing mayhem throughout the city.
Yeah.
And they're doing something at the Blockbuster. I couldn't make out what it was, but then they're on top of all the, like the city skyline, jumping from rooftop to rooftop, and they're knocking out people's satellite systems. It's like, how many times have you said this? All you need to do is just get rid of television and all the entertainment. It's kind of feeding people all the bullshit.
Yeah.
And you can really get through them.
I mean, my thing is turning it off in bars. It's a question of how illegal is this? How far do you want to take this? You know, obviously these guys are doing like illegal stuff. But like, I want to go right up to the line. I want to tiptoe right up to the line. Okay. You know, something I thought about is when I was a kid, with 2004 era, they re-released this in the theater in Jenkintown Theater. Okay. And I went, and it was packed with,
Really?
Yeah. It was incredible. It was like all these crazy psychos like myself, and people were amped. They were getting like, everyone was laughing and everything. Yeah, it was
5 years after release.
Yeah. Very Keynote experience, but you know, it made me think to myself, Mr. Chris, have you ever gone to like a theater by yourself to watch a movie and really just lock in?
Oh my God. That was, I mean, we did Inherent Vice last week though. I watched that by myself, went to the theater by myself. There was a good, before I met you, I would say there's a good 5 years of me just going to movies by myself. Maybe
really
road trip every now and then, but yeah, I would want to watch everything just isolated by myself. I could just focus and pay attention to it. If it's like something I really want to watch, yeah, dude, it's the best experience to watch it alone, because then you can focus, see things. I mean, you know, we're doing this for 30 episodes. Like, are you not getting way more focused watching this by yourself? I mean, you're probably watching it for different reasons now, but
I mean, like, yeah, like you're talking about in the theater though.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely, the best experience is when it's movie. I'll tell you, those are like the gems too. And something comes out that I really want to see. I think that was Inherent Vice specifically. And I went to a smaller theater and there was like 5 people there. It's great. Just chill, get my own seat in the middle of the theater, lock in and enjoy this.
There's something different about going to some movie that you specifically want to see for some weird reason and going by yourself at a theater. There's something different about that experience, and I'm not really sure how to explain it other than vibes and aura. But I think the last time I did this was Blade Runner, the 2049 Blade Runner movie. Just sitting there, just like,
keep passing by. It's so late when I keep trying to rewatch that, but I know it's good. I just don't remember the first time I saw it. I couldn't recall a lot of it. Like
it was like a very strange experience seeing that in the theater. But this is another movie where I think I don't know what this says about me, but I just can't help but laugh at everything going on in this movie.
Yes.
And it's kind of like in the movie American Psycho, where I'm laughing in that movie the whole time. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be, though. But I can't imagine that the actors and the director weren't intending that when they made this movie. They had to have been laughing.
The things that you laugh at that I see in like videos and movies, I'm like, all right, it could be questionable, but it's definitely some dark humor. No question about that. So if that's what you're asking, yeah. But I think it's basically because you're totally desensitized to the world, which is at this point understandable, in my opinion. But yeah, I'll tell you what, dude. One thing that stood out to me was just like rewatching it, like you said, and taking more and more in. Is like this is like a masterclass of dialogue and script writing in this movie. And it's like you hear the lines between like Marla and the narrator, even sometimes with Tyler. And it's like you hear that emo kid who's like apathetic in high school and they're just doomer maxing.
Yeah,
and it's like that really articulate description of something that really means nothing. Kind of feels like that vibe at the beginning of this movie. But yeah, it's just I kind of got that vibe listening. So like when I actually paid attention to the dialogue. That being said, what they are saying is super accurate. And it's almost just like these, he even says it. He's like, I write haikus and send it out to my office. They're almost like little kind of, I don't even know how to describe it, but little lessons throughout the movie. It's like, okay, you're saying something about society. It's 100% accurate. But what I was getting at before was like, this is like way ahead of the time. This is 99. They're saying these things. And now it's like, you listen to it back and it's like, damn, it's pretty accurate. Even to this day, even I would say more so in this day and age. So sometimes people.
And, I'm watching this. I think to myself, my God, dude, we talk all the time, every week almost, about these, unique movies not being able to be made anymore. Right. And like you might have a movie now where it's this art movie or whatever, or maybe it's a straight to Netflix movie. And it's like, dude, look at this movie. A-list actors, A-list director, Hollywood budget, right? But very strange material that they didn't even know how to like market this movie correctly. Because how do you sell this idea to moviegoers, right? Yeah. And it's like we're Gen X, the last real artists.
It makes you think, dude. I mean, when does a Gen X, what does that go up to? What year?
It's like right before me. I'm 83,
It's just, we say it all the time. It's like being a dead horse, but after the year 2012, seemingly, has there been like great movies? Not only great movies, great concepts. Where have
the concepts and the music. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe that's biased, the music angle, because, I just want to listen to music from my youth or whatever, but I don't think I'm wrong on that. Like.
No, you're not wrong. It's just, it's become so, I guess like, if you're going to go down the music rabbit hole, each era of music is its distinct sound. And you can make the argument of someone listening that grew up in listening to movie, 50s, 60s music is like hearing music from the 2000s. Dude, this has got awful. This. But then you take that leap to what's out now and it's like, and maybe I'm on now, but it's just like, dude, this sucks, man. This is like not well put together. Just the composition of the music just sucks. I mean,
but like, I kind of agree with you, but like, there's an aspect of everyone just gets old, but also, like, I think older people will probably be like, yeah, Soundgarden rules. Yeah, Alice in Chains rules. And if you show, like, Alice in Chains is like, again, viral just because people are making memes with them and Zoomers are discovering Alice in Chains for the first time. Like, well, where are those guys now? Like these musical talents. But this is like a small thing. The reason I bring it up is because this is such an extreme example of what we're talking about all these episodes is
right.
This content of this movie, the concept is so crazy and weird, and they make it into a perfect movie. It's like,
even the writer, the one who wrote the book that you mentioned, he made a statement that he thinks the movie outdid his book.
yeah,
I mean, now, of course, he's going to be getting flowers, but obviously, it's universally renowned as one of the best movies ever made. So,
I've read the book. There's slight changes, and I prefer the movie better.
yeah. So it's just, again,
but-
because they do such a great job of working everything together. That's why. I mean,
Yeah.
it might make you a little biased. But speaking of, I mean, what do you take this movie as? I mean, I just see this as it's got a pretty simple message, and like, to me, it's that the majority of people are just sleepwalking through life, and death can happen at any moment, which they mention in the movie. It's like, are you able to wake up and make a difference not only in your life but in society? Because they're talking about this whole. It's like they get these guys who, like you said, they're working dead end jobs or whatever. It's like they got nothing to strive for. They feel like they have no purpose, and they band together, and it's like, okay, let's create a little terrorism, and then it's just like, let's reset the banks, let's reset the financial structure.
Yeah,
That's what they do at the end of the movie. It's like, and then it's the whole thing with the concept of like the Fight Club, right? It's like they mentioned how the majority of people can't do that, just get in a fight with somebody because it's like super uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the whole concept of this movie is, making people uncomfortable. And I think back in '99, I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is pretty badass concept.
Yeah, 100%.
Nothing you're going to see, nothing, like, to your point, nothing you're going to see these days. So, I mean, that's my synopsis of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. There's also the aspect of the philosophy of integrating your shadow self in the Jungian sense. Like, in this movie, it's in your face, obvious, so obvious that that's what's going on, that you kind of almost you almost like forget it, miss it. It's like so in your face, but like Tyler Durden is his shadow self, and it takes this whole movie, because the whole time he's with Tyler, he's kind of this submissive character that just goes along with what he does.
Right.
And then he starts questioning it, and then he kind of fully integrates Tyler in at the end of the movie. But it's like a whole take on Jungian philosophy of like, if you don't integrate your shadow, it will subconsciously be projected on the world by you. And there's a lot to this movie. There's a lot of like high level philosophy.
Yeah, 100%. First time watching this movie, I don't know if, I'm sure you can remember. I vividly remember this one. I usually can't. I was probably back in like 2002. I guess 3 years after it came out, I was probably about 15 years old in high school. I think would have been like a freshman or whatever, junior.
Mm.
But anyway, I was hanging out with my best friend, and he was like, "Dude, I want to go over to this chick's house, trying to hook up with her." And it was funny because she just like threw on this movie, and I'm just like locked in. I guess he might have been like hooking up with her somewhere else in the house, but I was just like, dude, this movie is completely insane. And my buddy had already seen it, so we were leaving. I'm like, "Oh, what'd you guys do? What'd you guys do?" And he's just like, "I was, dude, what about that movie?" I was like, "Oh yeah, like it's a split personality." I'm like, "What?" "Oh yeah." I grasped the concept. I'm like, dude, because it was the first time I saw it. I'm like 15. What the hell is like going on in this movie?
Yeah.
Because you're kind of drawn to like the action of it and all this crazy shit going on. But it's like, oh yeah, okay, because he just shot him in the end, or shot himself. But then you look at the whole philosophy of with things and whatnot, and it's like, okay, it's a split personality. That makes sense. But I do vividly remember where I watched this movie. It was pretty insane. How about yourself?
Well, it's funny you mention that. Like, I'll have a lot of these movies we talk about, and I don't really remember too much, but this one I distinctly remember two things. First time watching it, I actually just fell asleep on the couch, so I never even watched the whole movie. But it was one of those times my dad read it, but it always cracked me up. I remember before I must have been like tired. I just sitting on the couch while he's watching this thing, and I see like a flicker of Brad Pitt on screen, and I'm like, dude, what was that? And true to form, my dad will always just stop the television programs, or like back in the day, VCR, he would just pause things. Like, let me rewind that. Like, okay, dude, like, I wasn't watching it or anything. I go ahead and rewind it so I could go watch it again. Yeah. But then he would go back and he goes frame by frame. And he's like, look, there he is, Brad Pitt. And obviously this is foreshadowing the rest of the movie, but it's weird the things you remember. Like that is seared in my mind.
Your dad, if I'm not mistaken, was involved in production, was he not?
Yeah, he's Mr. New York. Mr. New York, this guy. So
it comes slack. He's curious, like, wait, what's going on? What's going on with this frame? Got to check it out again.
And then I actually watched the full movie like a year later at my friend Albert's house during the day. Albert reacts, and he's like, "Yeah, you should give this another look because it's actually a pretty good movie." And I assumed that he knew who I was, so he assumed I would like this. And I was like, "Yeah, I can't believe I missed the boat on this one." You know,
what year was that?
That was like 2001 or something, a year later after it came out. But in this movie, I have to say it, like my literally me character is the narrator, Edward Norton.
Gotta figure it down.
You know,
about like 90% knowing who your character is going to be.
Yeah, we should just instead of doing our own, we should just guess who the other person is. Like I should guess what yours is and you should guess mine. But like, think about this. I go through bouts of insomnia.
The best character, literally me character yet, is you being Edward in this movie.
I can't fall back to sleep. I've been AA a bunch. I've blacked out a bunch. Let my inner psycho steer the ship. I don't like corporate stuff. I've had multiple Marlas, and I push them away, you know? But then what comes first, though? Is it me being that way? Or is the movie in my subconscious?
Yes. The movie shaped your character.
Right?
You don't even know it. I think you're realizing it now that you're like talking about it.
That's 100% true. That's MK. That's a real MK Ultra. Is I now have false memories of me being Edward Norton from this movie.
Well, I'll tell you what, dude. If you're Norton, then I guess I gotta go with Tyler. I'll be your split personality. Only I'm typically telling you not to do the insane shit that you talk about doing, and Tyler's telling you to do the insane shit. So, but getting to some fun facts about this thing, I took note of a couple things that were pretty cool. You know, they're doing this whole thing of split personality. If you're real sharp, you could have figured it out first watch, probably towards the end of the movie. But at around the 1 hour, 20-minute mark, when Tyler and the narrator first hit the car with the baseball bats, if you remember, they're kind of walking down the street, smacking the cars or whatever. Mm-hmm. Tyler hits it first, but the alarm is only triggered after the narrator hits it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Did not catch that one. At around the hour 35-minute mark, when the airport valet lends Tyler and the narrator the car, while addressing Mr. Durden, he looks straight at the narrator. So he's saying, Mr. Durden looks at the narrator. 41-minute mark, when entering Lou's Tavern, the narrator enters first, and the guy out front only acknowledges the narrator as though Tyler doesn't even exist. So just a couple cool little things there where, if you're paying attention, they really kind of push it home. Very subtle things.
Yeah, like a lesser movie would just have the twist.
And be
right.
Late.
Yeah, like just have the twist at the end. But this movie actually makes a point to just have like a million different clues, and you wind up just not even noticing it the first time you watch.
Oh my God, why would you? One that I actually caught that I didn't write down was, now that I'm thinking about it, when it's the first time when, okay, so they're all sitting in the living room and they're watching the news and they're talking about how there's the first thing that they did downtown.
Yeah.
And the narrator goes, "What the hell did you guys do?" Yeah. And then Bob goes, "Well, the first rule is we're not supposed to talk about Project Mayhem." And then he just looks at Tyler, and Tyler's staring at him. He turns around and walks away into another room. One of the dudes is sitting there just looking from that other room at the narrator, and Tyler walks right by him. And I just thought to myself, like, what if you still look over at him? He does.
Yeah. He does.
Of course, it was directed not to, but it's like, okay, that kind of one of those things. I'm sure there's like a million in this movie, but it's just a nice touch, dude. Like you said, It's not going to happen these days in movies, but just a real nice touch.
one of the things like that blows my mind thinking about this movie is that it wasn't a huge hit when it came out. Like this, in my mind, this is one of the best movies ever. And this movie was not a hit when it came out. Now, it benefited to a large degree later from DVD sales, where it was one of those movies that every person in their dorm had a DVD of Fight Club. Like every person, right? Yep. But one of the reason why it wasn't a hit, one of the reasons anyway, was because they marketed this movie like an action movie. Think about that for a second, how crazy that is. Imagine going to this movie thinking to yourself, oh, I got an action movie on my hands. And what you get is this.
Yeah.
Imagine sitting there and being like, what in the hell am I watching? Right? On the other hand, think about if you decided not to go to this movie because you thought it was an action movie, and then you miss out on the theater experience of it because you don't know what it is until later.
Funny, I remember specifically, now that you mentioned that, this old interview of Brad Pitt on like the Today Show when this first came out, and they asked him about it. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm doing this fighting movie right now. It's like, whatever year that would have been, I guess 2000 or 1999 at the time. And he's like, yeah, we're doing this fighting movie. It's pretty interesting. You should check it out. And he just completely plays it down.
Yeah.
It's just going to be this mundane fighting movie. Whereas it's way more than that, obviously, but they didn't market it that way.
Well, it's funny because you have to kind of be careful in how you market it because you don't want to give away anything regarding the plot twist. But it seems like they did these things, these little minute-long public service announcement things where Edward Norton and Brad Pitt would just pop off saying weird stuff on camera, and that was part of their viral marketing in 1999. And it didn't go over well with 20th Century Fox, where they saw that and were like, what is this bullshit? So they wound up spending something like $20 million for different marketing agencies, probably, to come up with these trailers and everything that really highlighted the fighting scenes to give the impression that this is some kind of fighting movie, right? Apparently Fincher protested this, but you can't stop the marketing team, I imagine. But it's just like
they get to the Senate.
It's wild to think about that they did not market this correctly though, because they couldn't understand it.
Yeah, but I think that Fincher is probably like, yeah, I know this thing's it's going to slap. It's going to end up having a following either way.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you have a gem in your hands, you have a gem in your hands. He's like, people in 1999 could still grasp that concept of like a good movie comes out.
Mm-hmm.
They knew it was going to be so.
Like right after the movie came out, this is almost unbelievable to think about. But Rosie O'Donnell had a talk show at the time, like a morning talk show. And she revealed the plot twist like the next day after it coming out on her morning talk show. I guess she was mad about the movie for some reason. She didn't like how it displayed mental illness. So she just revealed the plot twist on daytime television. Like she should be arrested for that.
As an unhinged person, I do recall that Brad Pitt, and I think it was something like that's unforgivable.
Yeah.
Basically. But yeah, I mean, that's the same person right there. Rosie O'Donnell.
But think about this, like
same act right there.
Not only is there the monetary part of that, like, is that costing them money? But also there's the idea of the user experience. Like if
that's more to the point. Yeah. It ruins it for the viewer.
Yeah. Because once you hear that, it changes so much about the movie. So you don't get that perfect first experience watching it. Hopefully you've seen the movie by the time you're listening to this, but and then another little fun fact that I thought was interesting. Brad Pitt, he's got like a chipped tooth in the movie, and he took off like his teeth, whatever they put on their teeth, like these crowns or whatever. They took it off. And I just thought to myself, like, hey, how do you do that? Is that really a good idea to be taking off? Like, imagine if you had to chip your tooth on purpose for a role. Well, he didn't do that, but it's almost like degrading your teeth down to chipped teeth on purpose by taking that thing off. Like, damn, dude, that is kind of wild. That's kind of gnarly to me. I don't like teeth. I don't like teeth messing with teeth, dude.
Yeah, I can't. I'm in the same boat, man. I don't mess with teeth. It just kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. Yeah, no, it's pretty dope. Yeah, even some of these Keynote scenes, because there's a long list.
Dude, just straight off the bat, the opening scene to this movie, to me, is like a perfect intro. Mm-hmm. Everything is this fast-paced music from the Dust Brothers, if you remember them. But like the font they use and how it evaporates on screen, and the fact you're flying through the narrator's brain in this scene, right? It's all these like neurons and electrical things popping off, and it's foreshadowing where the movie is going. Meaning this guy is crazy, and you're flying through his insane brain right now, and it gets you just primed for the absolute just shit show that you're about to experience. Is this art?
Crazy. It is. It's the crazy elevator in Speed zipping down like 100 million floors, right? Nah, it has to be able to do intros, dog. That's all.
I thought to myself, I mean, imagine if you're Fincher, you're editing this and you get your final product and you're like, let's add the intro. I'm like, dude, that is like the perfect just thing to add to this movie. Phenomenal work. This is art, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, no, it's like I'm telling you, man, even down to the intro, when you can even get that knocked out.
Yeah.
And that's just peak tier. Yeah. Again, this isn't like my all-time favorite movie, but you watch it back and it's like, wow, they really hit all those things we talked about.
Yeah.
Just flawless.
They killed it.
Writing, acting, directing, cinematography, just soundtrack, everything. Nailed. No complaints, no plot holes, no nothing.
I love this first group therapy scene where he meets Bob for the first time, played by Meatloaf. Mm-hmm. And it's like someone has to come up with these serious lines for a scene where a guy is faking having an ailment to take part in the group. And I'm like, there's something just so funny about that there's a guy, he comes up with this line for this character. You know, the guy complaining that his wife left him. He does such a good job delivering this line where he kind of just like starts breaking down crying. I'm like, the first time you realize it, it's like they're making fun of these people. They're basically making fun of these people because it's an actor's portrayal of someone delivering this heartbreaking line, being super honest in the presence of a faker. You know what I mean? Like, there's something just funny about the fact that some guy came up with these lines. Like, what would a person say that was super honest and it's really heartbreaking, but also kind of funny? You know, like the script writing process behind that. I like to get in that guy's head and think about like what makes that guy tick. You know?
Right. No, I mean all the group therapy scenes are kind of crazy because it actually feels like it's longer than it is in the movie because he's just zipping around and it's just like back and forth with Marla. But I just love that where he's sitting down and he realizes Marla's a faker. He calls her a tourist.
Yeah.
And just, he's like snarling at her with his arms crossed while she's in therapy, just smoking like chain smoking cigs. And I'm like, to look at, I'll tell you what, man, Edward Norton just absolutely murders this whole movie. All his facial expressions, like he just really feels it. And just again, just the way he's looking at her, he's like so pissed. She's intruding on I need this. I can't, he's like, I need this to sleep. And it's like, yeah, dude, this is great.
I love her response to him when she's like, I saw you practicing this. Like,
yeah, dude, so good.
That just has someone
multiple times in this movie. When Brad Pitt checks him on like on the plane and then Marla's checking him all the time. He's just like, it just makes him feel more and more inferior.
Because he's like this neurotic character that will, to use a Zoomer term, crash out
Yeah.
Like, you ever have just someone like lose their mind to you and you're just kind of like totally unfazed and just you want to say to them, like, I saw you practicing this, but you can just know it'll just drive them off a cliff and they'll just go like completely berserk.
I'm always on the other side of the spectrum there. Get people off the ledges. Relax, dude.
Yeah. I know. I already, speaking of Marla, I already know what you're going to ask. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Is she hot?
I'm gonna say yeah. Okay. Now, yeah.
I'll say meh. But
I'm gonna say that they did really good job with her makeup and her outfits to make her look kind of like scummy,
right,
and disgusting looking.
Dude, I saw that she personally, the actress, asked her makeup artist to apply her makeup with her left hand to make it look like the character doesn't really give a shit about her appearance or isn't good at doing makeup.
But there's something about her that I find sexy.
She's a goth chick, dude. She's a goth girl. She's a 99 goth chick. I don't know.
It's like this woman, you can just tell that she's trouble. And, maybe this speaks to my boredom in life, but it's like, I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know how this is going to work out, but at least I'm not bored. Something weird's going to happen, and it's going to be hot.
Fair enough. She just, I don't know. She doesn't do it for that. I don't know. Weird.
You did mention, like these group there, they had this whole conversation between Edward Norton and her, where they're talking about, this is more like the dark comedy stuff, is they're talking about what groups they're going to split. And
dialogue.
He goes like, let's talk parasites. And she's like, I want blood parasites. He's like, I'll take the brain parasites. She's like, I want it. And he's like, fine, you take all the parasites. And then he goes like, I want organic brain tumors. And she goes like, I want that. And she's like, he just flips out. He's like, you can't have the whole brain. And it's just like this super disturbing conversation that they're having about the, like, what fucked up ailments people have is the best one to go to. You know what I mean? Like,
but it's so good. Like, the argument, it's so locked in.
It's like, yeah, they just play it straight. These, like, this super demented stuff they're talking about, they play it straight. And it just comes off as super funny to me. I don't know.
Nah, trust me, I think a lot of people get that, but it's so well done that it's like believable that these two insane people, there are two people out there that could be arguing like this. Legit. Like you said, I need this to be able to sleep.
Yeah.
Right? So it makes sense.
When the narrator and Tyler meet for the first time on the plane, right? They have this whole back and forth. And it just comes off as the realest conversation that the narrator has had in a long time. And it's merely just because Tyler recognizes the truth. Like, the narrator says to him, like, what do you do? And he immediately just cuts right through that bullshit and makes fun of the narrator for his choice of question. And he's like, why? Because you just want to be like 20-minute friend to me, right? And it just, he's not like a total dick about it. He says it in a way that's kind of casual. And it's just like a way like, dude, you can open up to me. We don't have to have this like surface level conversation. We can get deep here if you want.
I started working out for you, being clever.
Keep it up then.
Keep it up then. No, it's like you see it on his face, narrator's face. His tone changes and he's like super intrigued. I'd argue almost like smitten by Tyler. Yeah. And the one thing I get, it's because you have the reveal of the character. And I mean, we'll get more into it later about what happens to Tyler, but is he like a product of his insomnia? Is it like his psychosis? I've never really understood the parameters of this because he shoots him in the end. And Tyler, is that just his brain thinking that has a bullet in him and it really is narrator? Kind of never really understood the parameters of Tyler.
I think speaking at the end there it's the idea that the narrator makes the decision to shoot himself. that makes Tyler go away. And it's basically like he's making a decision for Christ to this is his actual only real decision he's made.
Yeah.
Possibly in his life. I don't know. But it's like, you're not going to fight this guy. You're not going to physically fight him. The only thing you could do is kill yourself. So once he makes that decision,
he's letting go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, correct. And it doesn't matter if he actually misses or not once the decision was made. So it's like it's solidified in real life as well. But is he a product of insomnia? That's a great question. I don't know. I got the impression that the dude was just crazy. Like I think he's actually somewhat crazy.
Hallucinating. I can get the whole crazy angle, but it's like
he is.
They put such an emphasis on he can't sleep. And what happens when you can't sleep? He's going to the doctor. It's like, okay, is this dude just hallucinating because he can't sleep? I mean, you tell me, you're the one who can't sleep. You get like 8 hours like a week.
Well, like, there's a part in the movie where he meets Bob again for the first time. Or not for the first time. He meets up with him later in the movie. And he's like, Bob, right out on the street.
Yeah.
And Bob starts asking him about Tyler Durden. Have you heard about Tyler Durden? I heard he only gets 2 hours of sleep every night. And he was born in a mental hospital. Now, on the surface, that sounds like just hyperbolic stuff said about a charismatic leader. But then you're like, wait a second. Second viewing, you're like, Tyler is him. And he has insomnia. So the part about him having 2 hours of sleep per night is true. Does that mean the other part of him being born in a mental hospital is also true?
Yeah.
So then you're like, wait, I think this guy might actually just be crazy. And then, like he somehow makes it through life. And then something in the fact that he can't take this corporate shit anymore is triggering his craziness to come forth again. That would be my guess. But it's a good question because you don't know. It's kind of ambiguous.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I didn't hear that part about being born in the hospital, but yeah, I just like I said, I got the impression that this dude's just. I've never been in that state, that manic state when you just can't sleep.
Oh yeah.
But I know a lot of people, yourself included, are like, dude, I need to sleep, man. Like I'm starting to lose my mind.
The manic part, that's when it's fun. This is where the fun begins. One of my favorite scenes, this airport luggage scene, where he goes to get his luggage and it's been confiscated because it was vibrating inside.
Mm-hmm.
The airport security officer, this is my choice of top random guy in the movie. His facial expressions, the way he says, it's a dildo. It's so good, dude. He once he says that, narrator immediately was like, I don't have a dildo. And his response is so glorious. His response is to just make this gesture to just be like, stop him. He just makes this gesture, like puts his hand up and then just starts like scratching the back of his head. And the gesture is basically like, yeah, dude, I've heard all this shit before. And like, let me get back to this phone call I'm on. Like, I don't want to hear you.
I thought he was like basically saying, oh, no, someone came back on the line. I was waiting for someone. They came on the line. Oh, hold on, stop talking. And he scratched his head. But to your point, dude, yes, 100%. This guy, we talked about this, I think, before we even started this podcast. We're like, this is one of the topics we're going to bring up is like, who's the best? And we did it for the first couple of episodes, shied away from it. We got to bring it back. So who's like the best small bit role in this movie? Mm-hmm. And this guy, you had mentioned it, might be of all time. This scene, I'm like, the way he does such a little gesture, and dude, you're 1,000% right. Absolutely kills it. But it's like, I saw that, or you had made a mention that Norton and Pitt love this guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, this guy just had such confidence to this one tiny scene with probably the biggest actor in Hollywood at the time, Edward Norton, and just sent it. And again, it's not like he's not reinventing the wheel or doing something so Keynote, but just the body language, the confidence, just like that is, yes, 100% agree.
Well, he is like a legit actor. Like,
yeah,
his name is Bob Stevenson, And he's gone on to do a ton of movies, big movies, and he's in, sitcoms. If you saw him, you'd recognize him probably. But back in 99, he was just this random role in this movie and this role that he absolutely like destroys.
So good, dude. So simple, but it just, I love it. Great point. Another thing I want to point out was the wardrobe person. Now, the wardrobe in this movie is nothing to write home about. We mentioned Marla, and then every scene that a narrator's in, it's just kind of this corporate guy. The whole movie's supposed to be subtones and this grays and whatever. But then you have Tyler's wardrobe. This dude, he's got these buttoned up shirts underneath this leather jacket, and the shirt has like 2 buttons in the middle of the button, right?
Mm-hmm.
Top's open, the bottom's open. And one thing I just noticed was throughout the movie, his wardrobe gets progressively more insane.
Yeah.
Like the idea, he has his head shaved at the end, and it's like he's wearing like these giant glasses, I think he's like a mink fur jacket or something.
Yep.
And I just kind of took notice of they're making narrator become more progressively crazy throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Even his subconscious characters getting more and more unhinged.
Dude, yeah. I remember just looking up his wardrobe and where to buy it, because I was like, dude, getting the jacket and everything is a little absurd, but some of those shirts are hilarious. Like the one shirt with the maple leaves is pretty funny and definitely like a wearable shirt, but also his robe that he wears, Tyler, with the mugs on, with the coffee mugs on it, is so phenomenal. Right? Someone sells it out there, but it's like $100. So I was like, I'm not buying that, but it's so phenomenal, this robe. And I was like, someone could make a ton of money making an affordable Tyler Durden e-commerce store. Yeah. And such good lines in this, I guess we just repeat this over and over again. It seems like every scene though, it has just some repeatable line in this movie.
Lines of the movie. I agree.
And a lot of them, they just make you think too, like narrator, he moves to Tyler's house, this fucked up house in the middle of nowhere. And, he says, I didn't miss TV after, there's no power or anything in the house. There's nothing in there. I didn't miss TV after a month. When he's going to his office looking all jacked up, like bloody and everything, his manager walks in and he goes, after fighting everything else in your life, got the volume turned down. And the manager's voice, the volume is actually turned down in the movie.
Cool.
So I'm like, damn, dude. And the next scene, Tyler is taking a bath, which is kind of hilarious in itself. And the narrator's sitting in the bathroom talking to him. And I guess this is one that I repeat all the time, but the narrator talks about how his dad kept leaving.
Oh, yeah.
Every 5 years to a new city to start a new family. And Tyler just quickly says, fuckers setting up new franchises. And I just like the way he just says it so quick. And I'm like, dude, that's such a crazy response to what that dude's saying that, We could be, yeah, I mean, we could like sit here for another 5 hours talking about every line in this movie, but last week we did Inherent Vice, right? The character Inherent Vice, Doc Sportello, has the sideburns, has the hair, right?
What, the guy at Lou's?
Yeah, I think to myself, I watched this, the bartender of Lou's Tavern, I think his name's Irvin in the movie. He looks just like Doc Sportello. And I think, wait a second, did Doc get older, decide to stop becoming a private detective, and he moved to Delaware and became a bartender and gets involved in Fight Club? Is that possible?
Timeline could add up. The timeline could add up.
Right?
Because if Doc, I mean, you're talking 10, 20 years later, check out.
He's not a young man in this movie.
He's older.
Right?
I don't think he fights. Does it show him fighting?
I don't think so. He kind of just...
He lets everyone
is there. Right.
Yeah. Very, very possible. I'll give you that.
Let's think about like the cultural impact of this movie for 1 second and how it establishes the rules for Fight Club and how everyone would repeat the rules and everything. Like this movie came out, it was kind of like a viral thing before viral things existed.
Exactly.
You don't talk about Fight Club. You don't talk about Fight Club. And, you know, like I get reminded of the rules of wedding crashing from Wedding Crashers, right?
I mean,
or like the office workers being in Fight Club and the office workers in Old School seeing Mitch making photocopies and wanting to be in his frat. A similar kind of vibe, you know, they're playing off that. It's like sometimes movies come out and there's just this cultural impact where all these other movies and everything have to reference it.
Yeah.
Like that does speak to the level of this movie being a phenomenon.
You think that came from that? Wedding Crashing? First rule of Wedding Crashing.
I don't know, but it's close enough where I'm like, yeah, it's close enough.
It's a good point.
And so yeah, at this next scene, the narrator has a fight and gets his orbital bone split open, right? He goes to the hospital and has to get stitches. And he says in there, sometimes Tyler spoke for me. And Tyler's in the room, sitting in the back of the hospital room. And I think at this point, when you start asking yourself, what the hell is actually going on in this movie? There's different points for each person. What I mean is, like, when you first watch this movie, at some point, you're like, this isn't adding up. Something's wrong here. You don't know the twist yet.
That specific scene, because he says, sometimes Tyler would talk for me. He says it, and then narrator says it right after him to the doctor.
Yeah, and he's sitting, like, in the back of the room.
Right, yeah, that kind of called me, too. I'm like, wait, what? He did in the same room. Why would he just echo what he just...
Right, and so then I think to myself, what is the exact moment that you realized Tyler was not real? Or what was the moment in this movie where you started to question reality?
Well, I think when it really catches you for me when, you know, he prefaces it by saying that Marla and Tyler never want to be in the same room once they start smashing.
Mm-hmm.
But when she leaves and then Tyler comes down and goes to the room,
yeah,
and he's like, get rid of her. And then he goes upstairs, and then she comes back in and mentions some stuff about how crazy he is and yada, yada, yada. That's when you're like, okay, what's going on here?
Something's not right here. Yeah.
It's not like this love triangle where, you know, something's a little weird. And it was for me, it's just the way the camera works and it just cuts back over and follows them. And it shows him it makes it a point to show them not being in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really not that serious for them to not be in, like, fighting, because they're not fighting, because they're having sex nonstop.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like almost, it's kind of another humor thing where if they do that montage of them just like screaming, having sex.
Yeah.
It's just like everything he's doing all this housework and they're still just screaming. I actually read, fun fact again, is Brad Pitt and I can't remember her name, was the actress.
Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah. They spent 3 days recording voiceover for these sex sounds. But it is hilarious. It's a nice touch when in the movie, real time, they have this montage and it's kind of just hilarious that it's like each one gets more and more progressively crazy.
Like at this point, the movie reintroduces Marla, and she calls narrator on the phone, giving signals to come over and have the sex. And he isn't really interested, and he just gently puts the phone down on the hook so it doesn't hang up.
Cool.
Tyler picks it up, goes over there, right? Now, how many times have you seen good friends, any group really of guys, just get totally destroyed by the inclusion of some woman into the group?
Many times. Not even close friend groups, like college roommate groups. Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Many times. Yourself?
Tensions rise.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh, now it's a competition. Now I have to be the alpha male in this group so that I get the girl. Right?
Yep.
Also, you know, like there's a theory on the internet, and I'm not sure how much I subscribe to this, but that Marla is also fake. She's a figment of his imagination as well.
I don't hate it. I mean, it's very possible.
The only thing that I thought of off the top of my head, I'm sure there's a ton of evidence for this, but when he goes to his apartment and it's blown up, the 9/11 hijacker's passport, Marla's phone number that he wrote down is on the sidewalk that he picks up, and it's like burnt up, but the only thing that's saved is her number. I'm like, that can't be real. That can't be real. But, and it's like, imagine if that's true then Tyler represents his shadow, and Marla represents the anima in the Jungian sense. And I'm like, well, this is interesting, but what does it mean if your shadow and your anima are having sex?
I don't know. I think there's enough evidence of her interacting with the real world.
Yeah.
That you could argue that she thinks this.
Like the rest of the guys. Yeah. When they kidnap her.
Yeah.
Every time, but by the way, like we're talking about like all these instances of, seeing Tyler, and it's like, it's foreshadowing that he's actually a multiple personality and everything. Like every line, every scene takes on a whole new meaning the second time you watch this movie.
Correct.
Like, for instance, Tyler comes down and explains to the narrator his night with Marla. He goes, like, Tyler says to the narrator, you know what I mean? You fucked her. And he's like, no,
I didn't.
But in fact, Tyler and the narrator are one person, which Tyler already knows. So the whole conversation is insane there. Like, what is he getting at? Why would he even say that to him? What's his objective?
What do you mean in terms of why he's bringing that up to why he's like, and he says, oh, you have crazy friends, and well, you fucked her. So you're saying, why would they write that in there to have him have that conversation?
Yeah. Well, he poses it as a question. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It's not exactly a question, but like, he's not 100% sure. And it's like phrased like a question. Like he responds no, but in fact he does know that he fucked her because Tyler knows that they're one and the same person. But then you're like, well, why even have that conversation in the first place if he already knows the answer?
Line that Tyler has in the movie, he's learning him. He's learning the narrator, bruh. It's like he doesn't say something without emphasis on like why. You know what I mean? He's teaching him with everything he says. So I guess he's explaining to him that, even if it's just that she's good for sex or whatever, I think that's kind of the idea, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that Tyler is trying to become one person, basically, but he can't do it because this guy is still this personality of like this, as Tyler puts it later in the movie, a loser. He didn't make a loser personality to make himself feel better. So he's got to use baby steps to kind of get him to integrate with him, right? So he goes like, he knows that this guy's already in love with Marla.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Even though the narrator doesn't want to admit that at that point, at that juncture. So he goes, you know what I mean? You fucked her. And he's saying it to kind of bait the narrator into this conversation of, I do love her. He wants him to admit his true feelings. Sure. But at this point, it's not going to happen.
Yes. Yet. He's like, are you not into her? Right? It's like, yeah.
Right. But like, why would he ask him that if he already knew the answer? And it's because he wants to bait that out of him.
He's his life coach, bro. Like, think about the scene where he's asking him at the beginning to come over. He's like, is it a problem for you to ask? No.
Yes, exactly.
Let's just ask.
Yeah.
Okay, come over. Sure.
Right. It's so true. Like it's this whole thing where the whole reason Tyler's doing everything is because he's trying to pull this dude along and integrate into one person. He wants to integrate both personalities into one, right? But he, being the shadow, represents all these, not necessarily negative, but like these extreme versions of himself that he doesn't necessarily want to portray out in the world. Cairo doesn't have like the capability to just integrate. he has to do it in this extreme way, but he uses baby steps to get there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second, dude, every conversation that this dude has, you have to then analyze from this perspective of like, he already knows the answer, you know?
It's every time, like I said, every line, every scene that he's in, it's like a coaching experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's to lead him, and he says it right at the end of the movie. Another line that I use all the time, and I love it. It's like, he's like, and as always, I'll pull you across, finish kicking and screaming, and you'll thank me in the end. It's like, such a great line, but.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, Tyler is a soap maker. And think about that. That's just like some ridiculous entrepreneurial kind of venture, right? Where he's taking the best fat and he's making it into these $100 bar soaps or whatever, right?
But sometimes it's tough. I like it. I thought it was the coolest thing.
It's somewhat different in the book where he takes Marla's liposuction fat that's in the fridge and he just like makes it into soap and she flips out about it. But I just love the fact that they go to this liposuction clinic.
Yeah.
And it cracks me up that, you know, they get the one bag of fat caught in the barbed wire and it's leaking out.
Rosie tries to save it with his hand.
Yeah. Like it's so disgusting to think about. A normal person would be like, ew, and like get away from it. Tyler goes up to it and tries to just scoop it with his hands. Who knows what he's going to do with it? You know, but the fact that that's his first instinct is to just save the fat.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like,
gotta make that money. Nah, that the whole cooking of the fat and selling the bars of soap to me is like such a funny thing. It's like we're selling the fat ass back to it.
Yeah.
Kind of deep.
But also it's like a creative thing. Like, you know, he isn't possibly anywhere capable of being in anything corporate. It has to be something insane where he's doing soap, he's doing these other odd jobs just to do terrorism, you know, like, but he can't be doing like a job just to be doing a job. It has to be something on his own.
Well, then he mentions how you can just add a couple things like nitric, whatever it was, I think nitric acid or something to make nitroglycerin.
Yeah.
Fat. So it ties in all these like weird eccentric things to it. But
yeah,
another thing I mentioned earlier, Tyler's giving the pep talk in the basement. He says, the line that he says is, we have no great war. We have no great depression. Our war is a spiritual war. Our great depressions are lives. It's like, I mentioned it before about this being a little more applicable to Zoomers than Gen Xers. It's like, he rewatches back, given the current climate, what's going on. I'm like, yeah. If I'm a Zoomer watching this, I'm like, yeah, we just download this guy's personality, become Tyler Durden.
Yeah, dude. Like, think about what happened. Like, came out in 99. What happened since then? Okay. The .com bubble, 9/11, 2007 real estate crash, COVID, you know, like all this shit went on since this movie came out. And like, dude, like now people's backs are against the wall. Like I said, it's like, it's even crazier now when you hear this stuff. You're like, yeah, what do? Do you go to college? I mean, I guess if you want to become an accountant or a doctor or a lawyer,
it's bad out there.
Seems like, I mean, we know someone in college right now, and what's their loan situation looking like? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, dude, it's like, that's a lot, dude. That's like enslaving someone to loan payments.
Predatory lending.
Yeah. It's like, dude, what do you do? What can you do? You have to, I guess, flip out and, you know, start a cult or something. But
I was going to say, what do they do in this movie? They just like blow up buildings.
They just blow up the credit card buildings and just reset the debt all back to zero. But
love it.
I looked into it. You can't actually do that anymore because everything's online. Everything's in the cloud. So
yeah,
we're going to have to just set an EMP off and just take out the whole electrical grid.
They made this movie. They're like, all right, call it in. Gotta change it. That the next month is when everything changed.
Dude, can you imagine if they remade Fight Club in 2025?
I did, like, with crypto.
It's with crypto. It's with like some kind of nuclear bomb you blow up in space, and it like destroys all the electronics. Like this scene where he's giving that speech, whatever. Lou comes down, like, "Who are you?
Who the fuck are you?"
There's a sign outside that says Lou's Tavern. I'm fucking Lou. Who the fuck are you?
So good.
And it's like, dude, this is a microcosm of the whole idea of Fight Club. Is Tyler's like, he basically sacrifices himself. He's like, he lets himself get the shit beat out of him.
Yeah.
Just to get Lou to get his aggression out.
Right. Makes a point to the rest of the guys there.
Yeah. And then also it leads directly into the next part where he's like, I'm going to give you a homework assignment. I want you to get into a fight and lose.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, that's what they did. They had him do that first to show everyone what he's going to do next.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this next scene is probably my favorite scene in the movie, where they have these guys go out and start fights with people and the idea is to lose on purpose. Right. But then it's like, it's not as easy as it sounds because no one will get into a fight with you. You have to do something like, you have to push people to an extreme length in order to, well, the thing is like, if you think about it, what do they tell you? What are you taught growing up? Is like, violence isn't the answer. And it's like, the underlying message is, you're not allowed to do violence. The people that are allowed to do violence, those are the cops. Those are the military. Those people are allowed to do violence, meaning the state. But you, as a normal person, you're not allowed to do violence. So how does Tyler get around this? Well, first he has, the Fight Club, where they willingly fight each other in a safe space. But then how do you spread that message to more people? What you do is, you get in a fight with them, but you lose.
And then they feel empowered.
Yes, exactly. Then they feel the message of Fight Club is to get like, you are allowed to do violence. You're built with this aggression inside of you to get out.
The best one is the mechanic spraying the priest.
It's so good, dude.
If you watch close, you can see the camera shake. And it's because the director of photography was like laughing the whole time and could stop laughing when they shot it. So I guess they left it in there. But yeah, that's the best one.
The mechanic is another hero actor, Holt McElhenney, who's also done a bunch of stuff. He was in Mindhunter on Netflix. He's in a ton of different things. You'll obviously recognize him, but it's like, here's another guy from this movie. It's like a small role, goes to make a whole acting career for himself afterwards. Powerful. Jared Leto, holy smokes, yeah. There's another guy, Blondie. This movie does small details just so well. Like, narrator beats himself up in front of his boss. This is his version of getting a fight and losing. And he's walking out. It's a whole scheme to get, now he doesn't have to go to work.
Very good scheme.
He frames the boss for beating him up. And he's walking out. He's all bloody and shit. And he's whistling. And everyone is looking on in horror. Like, what happened to this dude? And the one guy that's like the file clerk, that's part of Fight Club too, he comes out and he's like, starts like smiling because he knows like this dude just did some wild thing.
All these interactions throughout the entire movie of all the Fight Club people seeing him in the wild is so hilarious.
Yeah.
With the looks and stuff, down to the guy with the neck brace.
Yeah.
Is this Chester?
Is this a test?
Even to when Marla and him are in the diner and he tells them to not order the clam chowder for
yeah.
And then
clean food, please.
The best thing ever is he then looks to his right and it's an exposed kitchen behind the glass and it's just three chefs there looking like deadpan staring at him. He just like shakes his head and they just nod their head to him.
Yeah.
It's such a funny, like, those are the little things that are subtle and hilarious to me. But after that, you have that Raven scene, which I always kind of like to see. Cause it's like, he's got this dude at gunpoint. It's like, he's challenging this guy. It's like, what do you want to do with your life? And he's like, I wanted to be a veterinarian or vet. And he's like, if you're not on your way, I'm coming back here. Listen, it's just like a week or so. It's like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
I'm keeping your ID. It's like, that's such a good, even in 99, it's like, yeah, look at what you have now. It's like people so easily lose their drive to succeed. And it's like, you have these creature comforts. So this movie keeps talking about is like, don't get sidetracked with that. Stay focused on what you're trying to accomplish. It's like, it's so easy to just get sidetracked when it's your drive and determination. And this scene, like, really, to me, captures that. To where, it's like a life or death thing, but it's like, I think he even says something, Tyler, at the end there where he's like, this is the best thing that could have happened there or whatever.
Right.
And I think that's a powerful scene right there. But
oh yeah. Now he knows, he must assume that people like this, they're just not ever going to get it together. So he forces the issue by literally putting a gun to the guy's head and being like, if you don't do this, I'm going to kill you. Right? It makes the guy believe that he's going to come back because he takes his license. Now, it's like, is it because of the comfort in our lives that we give up on our dreams? And is it like, okay, maybe I'm halfway. I'm comfortable enough where I have a okay job, but what I really want to do is going to require me to quit my job and do this other thing that's dangerous, right? Now, are people capable of recreating basically what Tyler does to this guy, except do it to themselves?
Fat chance.
What's the way to trick your own brain into giving up all comfort?
I don't think there is one, because people will so easily talk themselves out of it. Because it's like you see here, it's a fight or flight type of thing. It's like he doesn't really have a choice, right? So,
yeah. But like your brain will always just default to the easiest possible way, right? So if you don't just cut off all that stuff so that there's no chance of it ever coming back, like there's no chance of there being comfort, then that's like the only way you can do it.
She got
no one will ever do.
Very few people have that Keynote. Yeah, I'm saying, man, it's like, it's very hard to do. Yeah, it's
this. One of the funniest things in this movie is they're attacking the police chief in the ballroom bathroom.
Yeah,
right, and they all come out of the loading dock area in the back, right? And I didn't see this like the first number of times I watched this movie, but they all come out. They're all in their like these white tuxedos, and Bob's pants fall down.
I did not notice that. And then,
yeah, like they all jump out, and Bob's pants fall down, and he just takes a couple steps with his pants around his ankles, and they leave it in the movie.
Love it. Love it. I'd be curious to know how many times they shot that. If it was like, screw it, let's just go with it.
Let's just leave it in. This is the best version. This is the funniest version.
Never noticed that. Let's just go back and look at
that. And to our point earlier about how like it's different every time, like the second time you watch this movie, it's different. Like think about how confused Jared Leto's character Blondie must be. He gets in Project Mayhem, right? They do some vandalism.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Tyler seems to be like all about him. They leave this ballroom, and Tyler like gives him a little hug, gives him a little noogie on the head, and like claps, and like you say, "Hey, you go this way, we'll go this way," blah blah blah. And he's getting this praise from Tyler. Later that night at the Fight Club, narrator beats the shit out of him and permanently like scars his face. Yeah. Like they're the same guy.
Well, it's because he obviously, as you know, but he's taking it, narrator's taking it as Tyler's giving him preferential treatment. He's like, oh, he's taking my buddy away from me.
Yeah.
But in reality, to your point, right? It's like Jared Leto's character, Blondie, is like, what in the hell is going on? This guy just, because obviously it was narrated the whole time. Like, he was just like loving me like an hour ago, and now he's trying to kill me.
Like, think about how confused.
That must be an end.
He must be like super confused. He goes to the hospital and he's like, dude, like, I don't even understand what's going on. Like, in the same way, like Marla is confused, like you're Jekyll and Hyde. Like, imagine how confused this guy would be because he almost got murdered.
Yeah.
It's just like every scene though, like every scene takes like, you got to think about stuff now.
Yeah.
Like in the car crash scene, right? I love, like Tyler says in narrator, like, why do you think I blew up your condo?
Mm-hmm.
And it cuts to the guys in the back and they look at each other.
Yeah.
Like super confused. Like, what the fuck? And when you're first watching it or whatever, you assume that they're both disturbed because like it's an extreme thing to blow up someone's condo. Like
he's saying to himself.
Exactly. So now it's the second time you realize they're the same guy. So now you realize like there's a guy in the front driving the car having a completely insane conversation to himself, saying he blew
the
up
car to go off. Yeah, the car keeps like swaying in front of oncoming traffic. You're in the back seat, probably shitting yourself.
Like imagine if you heard him say though, like to himself, "Why do you think I blew up your condo?" Like that's an completely insane thing to be saying to an imaginary friend.
At this point in the movie, all those guys realize this dude's unhinged, but they're like, "Sir, you're a genius, sir," right? So they're kind of all bought into this point.
Yeah.
That he's, that dude. So I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary for them at that point in the movie. But the funniest thing that I think in this entire movie that I don't know if you caught this one was they're standing around the kitchen and Bob's dead body is like on the island.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this jack dude who goes, because narrator's freaking out. Like, he's a real guy. His name was Robert Paulson. And this dude's just deadpan. And his delivery of this is so good. And he goes, "I understand. In death, a member of Project Mayhem has a name. His name was Robert Paulson." And they're all just like, Lemmings just say like, "Oh, yeah, yeah."
Yeah.
Just, every time we hear that line,
that's
in death.
That's the mechanic. That's the same dude. That's the guy that sprayed the priest with the water. He just has a shaved head now, so he's not as recognizable. But it's like he starts saying it, like, "I understand," and you think that he's gonna agree with the narrator and like kind of, "All right, we got to stop this shit." But no, he doubles down on crazy, and he's like, "But it's so good."
Speaking of good lines, it's another one like right after that. They have narrator pinned down. So 3 guys, the detectives, like the lead detective, the old guy who obviously isn't a Fight Club, goes out, and they're just like surrounded, like, "Well, sir, you told us we'd have to do this." He's like, you definitely said you'd say that." And they're like, "Paul," they basically pin him down, going to cut his balls off. And the one older guy just pulls out this knife. He goes, "Is someone timing this?" The way it's so subtle, and like you probably wouldn't even catch it. But is somebody timing this?
Yeah, like this is the dark humor I'm talking about, dude. Like it's such a quick line, but it's so funny because it makes you like stop and think. Like, wait a second, like they're timing how long it takes to cut someone's balls off.
They've done it before. Yeah,
they've done this before, and there's a record. They're speed running, and there's a record for taking someone's balls off. You know what I mean? Like it makes you stop and think. Like, why would they be concerned with that? Like, what? There's this scene, like at the end of the final fight scene, there's this gnarly stunt where Tyler throws a narrator down a flight of stairs. Like this is actually done by a stuntman who just straight up hurls himself down this flight of stairs.
Yeah. Are you talking about where it shows on the cam, the security camera? Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
And come to find out, like I'm watching the DVD extras, and they did 10 takes of this stunt. This means that this gentleman had to fling himself down this flight of stairs 10 times, probably in a row. Like that is unbelievable.
Tell you what, those stunt guys and gals, they get paid pretty well. So,
I mean, dude, it's gnarly looking. Like that's not fake, man. That's not WWE. That's not kayfabe. Like he straight up takes that flight like an absolute maniac. But yeah, a perfect ending to an incredible movie. The good guy wins the day, fully integrating his shadow. I guess he gets the girl in a fucked up way. And they watch as the credit card company buildings blow up, set to the Pixies song, "Where's My Mind?" Credits roll. Right?
Perfect ending. Could have done that better. The good guy wins the day. And now he downloaded Tyler Durden's personality.
Yeah.
And now he's cool.
Keynote rating. What do you give it? What do you give, sir?
This movie for me is a 9. Like I said before, the writing, it's about as good as you can get for a movie. You tie in all those things and you look back on it, does all those things well. Like I said, I'll reiterate again, directing, acting, writing, soundtrack, all that. And honestly, the message is kind of awesome. And like I said, man, it sounds like a broken record, but I'm not holding out hope that you're going to get something like this anytime soon.
Yeah.
Anytime soon.
No, I feel you.
And you hate to see it, but
I feel you, brother.
What do you got?
I'm right on the same. Like, I honestly, dude, I give this movie a 10 on the Keynote scale. And I'm like, this 25 years later, I'm absolutely enthralled with every scene.
Yeah.
I've seen this movie like 100 times, dude. You know, and I'm like still, like I haven't seen it in a while and I'm still like into every scene, like laughing, like thinking about things, mix of dark humor, incredible lines, philosophy.
Right.
A-list title, A-list talent, A-list director. Like, think about this for a second. We've been doing a lot of movies, you know. How does it get better than this?
You bring up a good point, dude, because now that I haven't watched it probably in a couple years, but now that I rewatch it fresh again with the idea of kind of giving our 2 cents on it.
Yeah.
You make a good point that it's like kind of flawless, really.
Yeah. Everything, like I can't think of any negative, honestly. Possibly a perfect movie.
Fair enough.
So there you have it.
First time on the show, folks. It goes to Tate.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, next week, we're going to be doing another one of my favorite movies for a few dollars more.
Ooh. First Western.
Yeah. We got to get them in.
This is Jesse James, but we'll get there. Anyway, thanks for listening. Catch you on the next one.